You know, life can be incredibly tough. It can feel like you're completely stuck, backed into a corner with zero good options. But what if I told you there's a powerful way of thinking, a framework inspired by Stephen Covey, that can help you create real, actual change, no matter how difficult your situation feels right now? Well, that's exactly what we're going to break down.
This whole idea, this entire explainer, it was all sparked by one incredible question from a young man who felt totally trapped. He was living in a camp, he had nothing but his phone, and he asked this: how can I possibly create an opportunity for myself when I am a displaced person? That question, wow, it gets right to the heart of everything we're talking about. How do you build a future when your present feels absolutely impossible?
So where do we start? Well, the answer begins with a really fundamental concept from Stephen Covey. He says our entire lives, everything we think about, worry about, and do, can be sorted into two very distinct areas. Think of them as two circles that basically rule your life.
Okay, so this idea is super simple, but man, is it powerful. On one hand, you've got the circle of concern. This is all the stuff you worry about but have absolutely no direct control over. Things like the global economy, what other people think, or maybe a chronic illness. But then you have the circle of influence, and this is where your power is. It's the things you can actually control, your attitude, the skills you decide to learn, how you choose to spend your time.
And here is the secret, the absolute game changer. Proactive people, the folks who really make things happen, they pour all their energy into their circle of influence. They make a conscious choice to ignore the noise they can't control and get laser-focused on what they can. And that simple shift, that's what makes their power and their opportunities just grow and grow.
Okay, so that's the theory, right? It sounds good. But what does it actually look like in the real world? How do you take this idea and build something real with it, especially if you feel like you're starting from scratch? Let's get into a concrete plan.
Look, in this day and age, that phone in your pocket, it's a gateway to your circle of influence. You can learn pretty much any skill you can imagine for free. I'm serious. You could go on YouTube right now and start learning English or coding or how to be a great graphic designer. Once you master a skill, you've created a genuine asset, something valuable that you can use to build things online. And all it takes is the device you're probably holding in your hand right now.
Let's make this even more practical. Here is a real, step-by-step strategy you could start today. 1. Pick a niche, something specific like a musician or a sports team you like. 2. Start an Instagram account for it. 3. Post stuff about it every single day consistently. Your goal? Get to 10,000 followers. That's the magic number that unlocks a bunch of features. Once you're there, you've built an asset that people will buy. You could sell that account for around $1,000.
Now, $1,000 might not sound life-changing, but who said you only have to do it once? Imagine you start 7 of these accounts at the same time. You work on them all at once. In some markets, like in Saudi Arabia, for example, building and selling those accounts could potentially bring in something like 42,000 riyals. It just goes to show how focusing on a small, controllable action and then repeating it with consistency can create a seriously significant result.
You know what's fascinating? You can actually hear which circle a person is living in just by listening to the words they use. Your everyday language is a window into your mindset. It shows whether you're operating from a place of helplessness or a place of proactivity. Let's look at the difference.
Reactive people are always focused on their circle of concern. They feel like victims, like life is just happening to them, and they're always blaming outside forces for their problems. Proactive people? Totally different. They live and breathe in their circle of influence. They take ownership, not for the situation, but for their response to it. They're always looking for the solution that's within their control. It's a fundamental difference that changes absolutely everything.
Just listen to the language here. A reactive person says, "There's nothing I can do. It's a dead end, a period. It slams the door on any possibility." But the proactive person says, "Let me look at my options." That one little phrase opens the door right back up and tells your brain to start searching for a way forward.
Or how about this one? It's such a simple shift. "I can't" is a statement of defeat. It's giving up before you even start. But when you change it to a question, "How can I?" you turn it into a puzzle. You're challenging your brain to find a solution instead of just accepting failure. And finally, there's the language of blame. Saying it's their fault is literally handing your power over to someone else. But saying, "I am responsible," that's how you take your power back. It doesn't mean you're to blame for what happened. Not at all. It means you are responsible for what you do next.
So, what's the real cost of living your life stuck inside that circle of concern? It can be absolutely tragic.
There's this cautionary story about a man who became known in his town as the Chicken Man. And it's a heartbreaking example of what happens when you let one unchangeable moment completely define you.
So, one night, this man's house catches fire. He manages to get out, but his wife and children are still trapped inside. And in that moment, he was just paralyzed by fear. He couldn't bring himself to go back in. For the rest of his life, he was completely consumed by that one single moment of powerlessness. He just replayed it over and over and over again, an event in the past he could never ever change. His focus on that one unchangeable thing, it totally destroyed his present and his future.
Now let's just flip that story completely on its head. A man once told Stephen Covey that he didn't feel any love for his wife anymore, and Covey's advice was just 2 words: love her. He explained that love isn't just a feeling that happens to you. Love is a verb, it's an action. The feeling of love is the fruit, the result, of the action of loving. Serve her, listen to her, sacrifice for her. That's proactivity in its purest form, choosing your actions no matter what you're feeling.
So what does all this really boil down to? It's this. Our emotional state, whether we feel happy or sad, it's not actually a product of our circumstances. It's a product of our focus. We choose it in every single moment by deciding where we put our energy.
And hey, this isn't just some feel-good talk. There is actual brain science here. When you deliberately focus on your circle of influence and you take action, any action, your brain releases dopamine. That's the chemical of reward and pleasure. Making a proactive choice literally makes you feel happy on a physical level. Accomplishing even a tiny little task that you control gives you a real buzz and starts building incredible momentum.
So, let's make this real for you, right now. After this is over, I want you to do this one simple thing. Grab a piece of paper. Write down everything that is actually inside your circle of influence. Your diet, the books you read, what time you wake up, the effort you put in at your job. Then stick that list on your mirror or your door, somewhere you will see it every single day. Let it be a constant reminder of where your real power is.
And that brings us to the final and really the most important question of all. It's not about what you might do tomorrow or next week. Based on everything we just talked about, what is the first small, proactive thing you are going to do today inside your circle of influence?